that Anthony was psychologically and physically wanting to fight again.
Yeah.
That he made that choice himself. So I think he's embraced that battle already.
And he's 100% positive that that is the case, Frank. He wants to fight again. He wants to fight this year.
Yeah.
What's your club or country's sliding doors moment? Its meaning originating from the 1998 rom-com of the same name, a sliding doors moment in football terms is simply a question of what might have been. An incident in a game where, had it gone the other way, would have altered history. For example, say John Terry had scored that penalty in Moscow in 2008. Chelsea would have been European champions and Avram Grant would have the biggest medal in continental club football to his name. It stands to reason then that he would have stayed at Stamford Bridge for a bit longer, meaning that Luis Felipe Scolari wouldn't have got a look in. Would he have done better than the World Cup winning Brazilian, who only lasted till February the following year? And could he have improved upon Chelsea's third place finish? And as for United, who won the title that season, would defeats in that Moscow final have led to Cristiano Ronaldo leaving the club for Real Madrid a year earlier? And would that have meant that Rafa Benitez's Liverpool won the Premier League instead of them? That's a pretty big butterfly effect, all from one missed penalty kick going the other way. And if you want to dig a bit deeper, there's plenty more that could have been affected. What if Anthony Knockaert had scored his penalty against Watford? We'd have been denied the Troy Deeney moment, sure, but might Leicester have gone on to win promotion to the Premier League earlier than scheduled? And would that have meant that Claudio Ranieri would never make it to the King Power? Would Arsenal or Tottenham, therefore, have been champions in 2016? The most significant sliding doors moment perhaps ever, though, was Paul Gascoigne, Wembley, June 1996. What if this had gone in? That golden goal would have sent England to the Euro 96 final against Czech Republic. 30 years of hurt could well have come to an end. There's so many of these moments that could have altered destiny forever. What if Shearer had signed for United? Would Lampard's ghost goal against Germany have kick-started England's World Cup back in 2010? What if Sam Allardyce didn't get bogged down in all that controversy and denied Gareth Southgate the England job? Does make you think.
Good morning, welcome to Sunday edition. It's myself, Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. It's the Carabao Cup final today, Arsenal v Man City. Who needs it more, Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta? We know who needs the Tyne-Wear derby more. That's Toon boss Eddie Howe as Newcastle host Sunderland at midday after their midweek thrashing by Barcelona. And we have a special guest today. That's the legendary Graeme Souness, who'll be talking Liverpool, Scotland and grassroots football. That's just after 10 o'clock. We want to hear from you on all the main talking points from the weekend's action. Text us on 81089. Send us a WhatsApp or a WhatsApp voice note on 03717 223344. We're live on YouTube and your smart TV if you want to watch the show and see us in all our glory. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT. Morning, Henry.
Morning. How are we? Any holiday this week?
I haven't. Trains were all over the place this morning. Really not happy with. Do we call it British Rail now since it's gone back to national?
70s thing.
Dreadful. What a mess. Still, first world problems, as they say. This week, where have you been? Well, you've been to see Thomas Tuchel this week.
Yeah.
How was he?
He was
glad
good.
to see
Very
you?
jolly. Yeah. Well, apart from missing out Trent Alexander.
Yeah, we'll get on to that later. But yes, I'm sure you were. 35 players he named, and he still couldn't get your favourite player in.
And no Reece James in the squad because obviously he's injured. Kyle Walker has retired, and still no place for Real Madrid starting right back. Bizarre.
Outrageous in your view.
And in fact, to be fair, in a lot of people's views, if he's not in the 30 best outfield players in the country, then I don't know what. Anyway, but otherwise...
And you're going to the Carabao Cup final
today. To the Carabao Cup final. How emotional is that for you?
Well, I can't be bothered with the Carabao Cup final today. I feel drained after the week we've had. And, of course, remembering back a year ago to our sensational victory just doesn't.
But it was an emotional moment for you. And actually, it's been interesting talking to you this morning because you're all over the place. It wasn't just the trains all over the place. You are all over the place because you've got the Tyne-Wear derby.
Tyne-Wear derby, yes, which is now our cup final. I used to patronisingly tell everybody it was Sunderland's cup final, but it feels like ours
Big
now
for
today.
you.
Massive for Eddie Howe too, as well, isn't it? So, yes.
Why is it massive for Eddie Howe?
Because I think the fans who are sitting on the fence at the moment about stay or go, there are some, Henry, who are sitting on the fence will tip over the other side and think it's time for a change. That's what bothers me. 2 defeats.
Look at the England squad. There are players in there who Eddie Howe has improved at Newcastle United and are in the England squad.
Yeah, I'm just saying the fans who are on the fence at the moment may tip onto the...
But you are Howe in.
I'm still there.
I know you're Howe A, but you're Howe in.
I'm still there. I'm still an Eddie man.
Right. Oh, quite right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's
anyway, Carabao Cup final features on the back of...
Yes, so Gabriel...
in front of the pullout.
So it's good. In your paper, Harl Good Fun. Gab, as in Gabriel, Arsenal centre-half, is relishing Wembley duel with old foe Earl, because we... as in Erling Haaland, because Haaland, and this is Simon Collins' piece on the back page of your paper, Haaland angered Gabriel and his Gunners teammates by throwing a ball at the Brazilian's head in 2024. But Gabriel
like a grudge, is
very well. Yeah, but it's actually not much of a grudge. He was asked if he's the toughest striker to play against. He says, yeah, of course. It's Gabriel talking about Haaland. We enjoy it. To be honest, I enjoy every game and every striker. It is my job, so I just like to battle. But he, Erling Haaland, is a top player. And of course, I think he likes to play against me as well. And look, that's going to be a key collision today.
Yeah.
Gabriel and Arsenal's back four.
I was mentioning just quickly before we move on about how important it was for Eddie Howe. Do you think it matters future-wise for Arteta or Guardiola, this game?
What, psychologically in terms of the title race?
Or anything. I mean, just...
I think if you look at the table, Arsenal have just got that extra edge now after what happened last weekend.
So you don't think he'd be cut up and devastated and affect the rest of the season if Arteta lost this game?
No, because I don't think, when you talk to Arsenal fans, I mean, by the way, when did quadruple become the quadruple? Is
that what it is?
It sort of seems to have changed intonation. I mean, Arsenal, if you talk to Arsenal fans, they are all about the title. That is the key thing.
So this one doesn't matter then?
It does matter because, look, you're still in mourning.
I am still in mourning. Well, I think it actually means more to Guardiola today.
I do as well.
To be honest.
Yeah, and also the noise around him.
All talking of noise,
yep.
Rafinha's trying to cut it out.
Well,
Chelsea, and
I mean,
there's lots of stuff about crisis for Rafinha and crisis for Chelsea.
Yeah, front page of the Sunday Telegraph's pull out Mike McGrath's piece from the Hill Dickinson Stadium. Rafinha in crisis after Chelsea lose fourth game in a row. I mean, first credit to Everton. I mean, Everton were absolutely
really
outstanding, and it shows what happens if you've got some experienced players in your team. That match of the day graphic last night of Everton's average age was 29 years, and Chelsea's was 24, I think, 24, 25. It just shows the importance of experience. So
Champions League push by Everton.
Yeah, wouldn't that be great?
It's been a while.
Yeah,
since they were robbed.
They were absolutely. I mean, well, that was the Kalina's refereeing.
Indeed.
I was there for that. That was ridiculous. And having spent a bit of time with Duncan Ferguson, he's certainly not forgotten what happened then. So, yeah, absolutely.
Do you think it's realistic? Do you think they're making a realistic push for Champions League?
Well, I think if you've got other teams on the slide, with Everton on the slide, Liverpool...
Everton not on the slide.
Sorry, not Everton on the slide, so Chelsea on the slide. But you looked at Rossini and you thought, well, he wasn't even taking notes at the end of the game.
No, we noticed that. He couldn't even be bothered to take notes.
Quite significant.
We move on to... There's a lot of pictures. I held up the Telegraph before for the other story, but that's also Danny Welbeck. He's on the front of the Observer as well after his 2 goals against Liverpool.
Yeah, I mean, the Observer Sport tends to like their sort of long, more featurey reads, so you could realise the significance of it to have a picture on the match. It told such a good story. Danny Welbeck celebrating. Good to see Hinchelwood as part of the picture as well, because I thought he had another good game. Obviously set up one of the goals.
And he's a man in form, Henry, but you didn't want him in the England squad.
Recently, how much?
Solanke or Calvert-Lewin?
Well, it was interesting. Tuchel was talking about basically it's a shootout between the two Doms, who goes as Kane's sort of backup reserve, and that is quite a drop off between our number 1, number 9. But I also think.
I know it's a long time since he played for England, but he was very good when he did play for England.
He did. He's 35, but he's in great form. I mean, if you're working on that, then you'll have a 40-year-old Milner in the squad. I mean, I just say, just because he scored 2 goals yesterday, I don't think Thomas Tuchel could have predicted that he was going to score twice, before he actually announced his squad. So I think it's a little bit harsh on Tuchel. And he's got to the end of the season. Plus, also, Tuchel can play Rashford and your beloved Anthony Gordon through the middle.
Well, I don't like Anthony Gordon through the middle.
Even though he scores, even though he's got the pace.
I don't think it works very well. Anyway, that's for our England discussion later on. Arnie Slot was were a bit tired, only 62 hours rest, etc. Didn't like having to go to Brighton at lunchtime after a difficult, not a difficult night, a very successful night during the week. Has he got a point?
He's got a slight point. I think it's something that, is an issue with the Premier League and the broadcasters. And you look at, say, PSG and the way that their games get brought forward to a Friday so they can prepare for Champions League. But look, that is English football. Welcome to English football. I remember when we spoke to Jurgen Klopp, the day he arrived at Liverpool, and we said, there's no winter break here. And he said, well, I better call my wife to cancel our skiing holiday in December and January. So look, the dear old English, because of the broadcasting, also because of traditions over here. And it was something that Sven wanted to change without going too far back in history. Sven wanted to change it. So we actually had a winter break in late January because he knew how much the third
you love a winter break.
Well, I just think I want to see English teams do well.
That's the German experience in you, isn't it?
Yeah, but I want to see English teams do well, and particularly England do well.
On the back page of the Mail is United to launch complaint over penalty call. Me and Henry are starting to think these are a bit of a waste of time because now lots of teams are raising official complaints about penalty calls. Where does it get you? What is the point?
I don't think it gets anywhere, but maybe it's for internal consumption. I think there was an obvious...
because they're denied a penalty.
It's
the it's not the Harry Maguire.
The Harry Maguire was a clear denial of a goal scoring opportunity. I don't think you could dispute that. But the fact that
one was a bit odd.
25 seconds earlier, Ahmad clearly was brought down, and you could understand their frustration.
Where does an official complaint get you, though, apart from raising the issue?
Manchester United are right in this case to be annoyed about that, and it takes quite a lot for Michael Carrick, who's a fairly sanguine individual, to get annoyed, and he was clearly frustrated afterwards. But go to any manager, any club, I'm sure Newcastle as well, will have had issues that they could say, oh, we should have had a penalty there.
A bit of Fergie in him somewhere there.
Yeah, well...
Indeed.
Ferguson did buy him. I mean, there's slightly different characters, but yeah, Michael was annoyed.
Anyway, coming up next on Sunday Edition, we'll look back at this weekend's Premier League action. And as we say, tough day for Liverpool and Chelsea.
is Brazil's all-time goal scorer?
I don't care. I
He's
don't
got
care.
more goals than Pele.
Was Pele all that? Was he all that, Pele? Would Pele get in to Arsenal's team now?
Hold on. What do you mean?
Would Pele get in Arsenal's team now? Would he get ahead of Martinelli?
You don't think Pele's any good?
I never saw it. I mean, all I've seen is
You're not having him better. You don't think he's better than Gyökeres?
I don't know whether Pele was as good as everyone said.
He won 3 World Cups.
I know, but that was back then, wasn't it?
What do you mean?
I know.
You're not having Pele.
No, it's a little bit like someone winning. Let's say back in like the
hat-trick in a World Cup final.
Let's say like in the early 1800s, early 1900s, someone won Wimbledon 25 times. They're not going to be better than Federer or Djokovic.
Right, but Pele can't help the fact that he was born in whenever he was born in the 60s.
At that time, Pele was obviously very good.
Right.
But don't tell me Pele gets an Arsenal's team now.
What do you mean?
The best side in the country. Who's he
he's
getting?
He's not getting in front of Gyökeres.
He ain't getting ahead of Saka.
Are you having a laugh?
No, I'm not.
What?
No.
I can't believe you said that.
I've never
heard you come. I've never heard you come out with so much guff.
No, but we don't.
Pele.
But we don't know how good Pele was.
What do you mean?
We are told.
What do you mean?
No, at the time,
he won 3 World Cups.
No, I know he did, and I'm not taking that. Of course, I'm not.
It's not like he played in the 1600s.
No, I know, but
we saw footage.
Yeah, we did see footage, but what I'm saying is, back then, footballers are better now than they were. Can we agree on this?
Yeah,
okay.
I understand what you're saying.
That's the point I'm making.
Left wing position, great ball in, and Welbeck is there to turn it home again. What a big goal that could be in the race for European football. Brighton 2, Liverpool 1.
And it is Jimenez who steps up to take the penalty in the 95th minute to seal the points for Fulham, and he dinks it over the top of the goalkeeper, and he drops to his knees, Raul Jimenez, as the ball nestles into the corner. 96th minute, it is Fulham 3, Burnley 1.
And it's well and truly game over here. Everton 3, Chelsea 0. Glorious finish by Illiman and Dye. For Liam Rossini and Chelsea, 4 defeats in a row in the league. They are in a real rut at the moment, and it's difficult to see how they pull out of it. Everton 3, Chelsea 0.
The effort was there from Leeds, but the quality was sadly lacking. It ends Leeds 0, Brentford 0.
We didn't have any Bournemouth Man United in that little segment because it was Friday night. I just want to finish off our discussion about Man United. We've talked about questionable refereeing decisions, but do you think they've lost a little bit of Carrick bounce at United now?
Well, I thought they were... Well, first, Bournemouth were excellent. I mean, Alex.
Oh, don't
Scott
chicken
was
out the
terrific.
main.
I'm not. No, I'm leading
Alex
up
Scott,
to it.
he
but-
got left out.
Yeah, I know. But I loved the way, in his Sky interview afterwards, he was just talking about, well, I got to focus, and he name checked Kobbie Mainoo, who was in the squad, and to talk about the the quality in front of him. But I love his attitude. We saw that with the under-21s. I thought he was outstanding. So, Shaun, 2 teams on the pitch. Bournemouth deserve credit. Coming on to your point about Manchester United, I mean, they had a very legitimate case for Diallo. Could have scored. That would have made it 3-1 at the time, and that would have been they were looking good. So has the Carrick bounce gone? I mean, some people would be happy to go to Bournemouth and get a point. I think people can see the identity. Yeah. People can see the issues that still need addressing. I merely asked
your opinion. I didn't offer one.
Yeah. Well, are you Carrick out already?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think really well. I mean, I've said all along that it makes sense for them just to see how he does, and if he gets them into the Champions League positions, which it looks like he's doing. Well, he's taken them from 6th to 3rd, so I think he's doing what's been asked of them. He's taken a lot of the noise and the issues out of the situation. I think he's rebuilt the relations with the fans, which was clearly had been eroded under Amorim. I just think there's a bit of the identity, a bit of the defiance back. And they look like they've got a system that they understand and appreciate, which they didn't under the previous manager. We mentioned Danny Welbeck's performance earlier on in Brighton 2, Liverpool 1, but Liverpool are now 21 points behind Arsenal. Remember, Liverpool are the reigning champions. Let's hear from Arnie Slot now, speaking to talkSPORT. He was asked if the international break has come at a good time for his players.
Unfortunately, what I've noticed till now, there's only one national team coach that decided to rest the players, and that's the England national team coach, if I'm informed correctly, because I thought I saw that he does not call up a lot of players that have played a lot of games recently in Champions League and in the game, which as a club manager I admire. Unfortunately, the only country where we don't have players in the national team is England. So my players go to other national team coaches, and I wouldn't be surprised if they play them all twice or a lot, because they're very good players. And I would do this if I was a national team coach as well. Not all of them think as Tuchel is thinking, because it's probably smart of him, because it also helps him to have them either available for the World Cup or in the best possible shape, because you see more and more currently that players get injured because of the amount of games they play. I don't think it's helpful, because going to a different regime is usually also not helpful when it comes to injury prevention. I can't change it. It's just accepting it. When they are back, compete with them for the 3 things we have to compete for.
Well, he's kind of right. He does have a point about that, but as you said, this is football.
Yeah, but he also should have an established England international in there, in Mark Gay. And I think if Liverpool had moved earlier in the summer transfer window, they would have got Gay. Well, they would have given Palace time to get the replacement in. He then goes and moves to Manchester City. And I just think you looked at their defence yesterday, and I'm a huge admirer of Van Dijk in particular, but he got caught out by Hinshelwood's movement for Welbeck's second goal. The Konate obviously got caught out by Welbeck for the first in terms of the aerial ball. Kirkes got caught out. I mean, Kirkes scored a terrific goal, and he's settling in at left back undoubtedly. But that defence needs work on.
Of course, they did have an England player who they let go from defence, and that's Gerald Quansah.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
You can't have it all ways. You say they should have signed Gay. Well, they let one go who's now in the England squad and could go to the World Cup.
Well, I talked to Quansah when he was out at the under-21s, and he was doing really well there. And he really wanted to obviously, develop and play on at Liverpool and learn from Van Dijk and players like that. But also, I admire the fact that he wanted minutes. He wanted to go abroad. And, he's done really well and got into the England squad. And what was interesting is when Tuchel was talking about the reasons for admitting Trent Alexander-Arnold, he actually name-checked Quansah as one of the players who can actually play there at right back as well, if required. So, I think it's perhaps shouldn't have let him go.
No. You gave Arnie a little bit of a kicking on X this week. You are a big admirer of Arnie. You keep telling me he was, he was manager of the year.
He's manager.
Yes. He won the league last year, so how dare we question him? It used to be your
Absolutely,
way
you
earlier
can
on when I was
question him.
questioning
You
him.
can
But now
question
you're
him.
giving him a bit of a kicking.
I'm just sort of putting things into perspective and just saying, well, first, you can't get rid of him now because obviously
in the Champions League.
Yeah, and maybe when PSG's attackers, Kvaratskhelia and players like that, Dembele, Barcola, Doué, have a look at that defence, they might relish their chance. So look, absolutely, he deserves that. The Champions League, they got the FA Cup against Manchester City. He's got to finish in the top 5. Otherwise, look, managers get reviewed every summer. I think it could be an awkward review if they're not in the Champions League positions because of the money involved.
Quite. Well, Weekend Sports Breakfast host Tony Cascarino gave his thoughts on Liverpool this morning.
I can't believe that we're witnessing and watching the champions perform like they have this season. 10 defeats in the Premier League. I just do not recognise this Liverpool team. And I've said it for nearly all season, that I just look at them and think, it's become routine beating Liverpool. But playing against Liverpool was quite easy in comparison to, certainly the first part of last season. There's loads of concerns over Liverpool. This season is going to be a strange one to reflect back on as champions. And do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Everton finish it higher than Liverpool. Oh. And I'm not being disrespectful to Everton.
No.
They have got more points in the Premier League in 26 than Liverpool. It's only a 1 point difference, but Everton has got 18 points and Liverpool got 17 points in the Premier League in 26.
As you mentioned earlier, Everton playing really, really well. We've said Liverpool aren't. Tony makes the point he thinks Everton could finish higher than Liverpool at the end of the season.
3 points between them at the moment. I mean, David Moyes, what a fantastic job he's doing there. You look at that. I mean, Tony's completely right about Liverpool, and they seem to lack what we've always associated. You looked at Liverpool teams, going back to the 70s, and there's always been an identity to Liverpool. I don't really see the identity.
Well, is that the manager's fault?
I think it's partly the manager's fault. It's partly the recruitment. Obviously, there's been a lot of extra issues this season. Yep. The tragedy of Diogo Jota, and then you have to sort of separate everything from the enormity of what happened to Jota, and then move and mention other areas like players who have left, injuries. Everything's put into perspective by what happened to Diogo Jota. But I mean, look, the first 10 minutes of the game, Ekitike gets injured. And that sort of disrupts the flow as well. So there are mitigating circumstances.
It didn't look like it was a bad challenge.
It was hard but fair. I mean, we know what Milner's like. He's competitive, but he's certainly not dirty. And yeah, I mean, he's got a dead leg, Ekitike.
And that's going to affect them for how long? He'll probably be back, won't he?
Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. I mean, Slot was saying afterwards that if there was a game tomorrow, he could play.
So they'll be all right. They'll get him back. Who knows when Isak will return? But apparently he's on the way to recovery.
Where are you on Isak at the moment, emotionally?
Well, of course, it's the anniversary of him scoring. I don't know. I mean, look.
But the poster of Isak is down from your wall. It's been down for a long time, I imagine.
Yeah, sadly so. Dan Burns is there, though, obviously.
Dan Burn. Are you happy him going to the World Cup?
Should we get around to that later on? We've got other stuff to do. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, and next up we will look back at a lively week for Chelsea, which finished with another defeat. After two decent results in a row, has Igor Tudor earned his stay of execution at Tottenham until the end of the season? Well, Drive presenter and expert striker Darren Bent certainly thinks so.
The performances before that, I mean, the 6 before that, oh my God, 6 straight losses in a row. I thought, what's going to happen here? Like, where's it going to end? And they put in a decent performance against Liverpool. And as you said, they beat Atletico in the second leg. And they have got confidence now because that's 2 unbeaten now in all competitions, 2 unbeaten. The game on Sunday's the one. It's so big. But clearly now that Igor Tudor's going to be here for the foreseeable now. He's here to the end of the season.
Yeah.
I can't see them making a change now this season because you've seen...
If they were to lose Forest, lose away at Sunderland, he'd still be there.
Potentially, yeah. I think so.
Very interesting. Spurs Nottingham Forest on Sunday is absolutely gigantic. So, would you agree with Darren Bent there? Have we seen enough that's been good from Igor Tudor?
That was a brilliant point away at Liverpool. And the game in midweek, which I watched, I thought there was a lot more spirit, a lot more, really wanting it more for if you're a Tottenham player. So they've got to take that now into this game on Sunday against Forest. Look, Forest will know they're coming off that win as well. They'll be really happy with how they got the result away from home. They'll probably sit back Forest and try and hit them on the break, but they've got good players as well. Gibbs White, Adore, Jesus up front, Anderson in midfield. So they've got a decent squad of players itself. So it's going to be an interesting.
Yeah, this is Sunday edition. As I said earlier, we're getting into all things Chelsea now. They obviously beaten 3-0 Everton yesterday. Is Liam Rosenior on borrowed time? That came at the end of a week in which they got done £10 million for some dodgy under-the-counter payments, but they escaped a points deduction. First things first, though, after the defeat, Liam Rosenior gave his thoughts.
The most disappointing evening so far in terms of the things we've spoken about, not gifting goals away, making sure we're in the game, getting control of the game. It wasn't there. And it turned into a really, really difficult evening where the result and performance was nowhere near what we expected or wanted. When you look at a team that are 3-0 down, you're trying to press and get your way back into the game. And it looks like the distance has become really, really big. For me, I don't think there's a lack of effort. I don't think there's a lack of belief or determination in the team. I'm aware when you're on a run of defeats that we're on and when you're on a run of performances that we've had, those things get levelled at you, but I don't think that's the issue in this moment. What I don't want to do, I don't want to be seen to make excuses that was not good enough.
Chelsea boss Liam Rosenior there. Andrew from Mid-Wales text to put things in perspective, he says. Everton have played 34 matches in all comps, Chelsea 49. Then add on the Club World Cup, no pre-season summer break. It's obvious that a number of players are physically and, more importantly, mentally fatigued. Think we have underestimated how much the Club World Cup has impacted, and it was going to be highlighted towards the end of the season. Journalists really need to factor this into any criticism. No other club is in this unique position. And to be fair to you, Henry, you have pointed this out on a number of occasions. So, mitigating circumstances.
Well, a lot of people pointed it out before they actually went out to the Club World Cup, partly because you knew the heat and the conditions out there, the timing of it. You look at Cole Palmer's, just the level of work that he's had to do. And look, they get paid incredibly well. They've got all the facilities, all the people to look after them. But you wouldn't treat racehorses like this. And there's no surprise that there's been a dip in some players' performances.
PSG got thrashed in that Club World Cup final by Chelsea, but they're going along quite all right, aren't they?
Yeah, but look at their league, with respect. That not every single game demands 100% effort from every single player.
So do they not put in 100% effort when they play in the league then?
Well, they probably do as much as they need to. Plus, also, as we've discussed, they move games around so they have a little bit of a breathing space because the Champions League is so important to them.
Anyway, as I mentioned earlier, Chelsea have avoided a points deduction after admitting to breaching Premier League rules in relation to more than £47 million of undisclosed payments made under the ownership of Roman Abramovich. They got fined £10 million for that. The argument has been that these under-the-counter payments gave them an advantage when it came to signing certain players, even though it was the Abramovich era and not the current Bowley era, and they revealed it. But it gave them an advantage, and they were able to sell those players on at increased profits, Eden Hazard being one of the main prime examples. We heard a bit about how the Premier League was... other clubs were up in arms and not happy about this, etc. Karen Brady did a column in The Sun during the week in which she said nobody raised the issue at all. At the
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Not a peep. Me and Henry were laughing before the show because we used to get this with the FA, the old FA council, FA board.
Yeah.
They used to say, I'm going to really raise things and we're going to get this manager out and all that. Then they'd come out afterwards and we'd say, what happened then? Did you raise it? Oh, no, we never got round to it.
We just voted on more car parking at Wembley.
That's right. So Sam Wallace in the Telegraph says here, Premier League opts to keep peace despite £47 million deception. And it seems everybody is now prepared to sweep it under the carpet.
Yeah, it's a really good column by Sam. And he goes into the fact that there's almost an element of lawyer fatigue because they've had the APT case. They've obviously got the Manchester City ongoing case. And there was an element of the clubs, maybe for financial reasons, because it's costing them so much, that they just wanted... They didn't want this to go to appeal. And this was, I mean, if you read the report, which came out early in the week, it was very much all around, it was an agreed report, the sanctions agreement. And I mean, when I saw it, within, sorry?
What do you mean an agreed report?
Well, it was all agreed. It's agreed between Chelsea and the Premier League. So just to clarify that, agreed between Chelsea and the Premier League, and it went through and explained why Chelsea had been treated so leniently is because they'd cooperated and there were 200,000 documents and they'd contributed some of those, sent those to the Premier League, plus also the fact that they'd self-reported.
You know, if they hadn't shopped themselves, do you think nobody would have known? I mean, how would anybody have found out about previous things that went under?
Well, presumably when they were doing due diligence and their accountants and whoever were going through due diligence on the takeover, buying of Abramovich's part of the club, that they would have seen that and they are duty bound to declare it. So, or to declare their concerns. But I looked through and I thought, well, there must be points deductions. You know, the moment those, I mean, you read through it and it is pretty damning. I mean, £47 million, the names of the players who were involved. But then what the Premier League effectively concluded is that Chelsea would still have been able to pay those sums to the unregulated agents and it wouldn't have breached PSR. Yeah. So it's like PSR was far more important than subterfuge and paying payments off the books.
Yeah.
And if you are Everton, if you are Nottingham Forest, and if you are Leicester City, who have had points deductions for financial breaches. Some of them quite close to, they almost made the threshold. And in Everton's case, well, there were geopolitical reasons for losing one of the sponsors. Interest rates went up, and that was an issue for the stadium, or they had to move money from elsewhere. So I think there was a lot of sympathy backdated for those clubs in particular. Plus, also, the Premier League seems to have gone out of their way to keep Chelsea's new owners, Blueco, happy, when actually, what about the fans and the other clubs who were denied trophies, glorious moments during that period when Chelsea were getting these players?
So why don't Everton and Forest raise this at the Premier League meeting, raise their objections and speak up? I get why Man City wouldn't have done, because obviously they're not going to object to Chelsea only being fined and not a points deduction. Where were Everton and Forest at this Premier League meeting?
That's a really good point. And maybe there was an element of, I think, we've all made calls on this, and there was a degree of deep, deep, deep unhappiness with the decision. But there was just an element of collectivity, and they're not going to squeak.
There is deep unhappiness. You voice it. This is the place to vote it. The only person from any club who's come out and talked about this is Karen Brady.
Yeah.
No other club has publicly.
Would you genuinely believe that there aren't other clubs in there who are happy with this? There are clubs in there who are really disappointed.
Okay, well, why aren't they saying so then?
That's a really good point. I don't know, but I do know genuinely that there are clubs who are unhappy.
Say something then.
Well, get them to say something.
Well, quite, but they don't.
Yeah, but maybe it's because of this battle fatigue over lawyers and everything.
Or do you think some of them have done the same thing, and maybe
that's a logical.
What do you think this means for the Man City charges, though? Because here is some off the books deals, which part of the Man City thing is about.
And Manchester City deny all,
which they deny
vigorously. Deny.
Absolutely, but you're going to look at this and think, well, that gives Man City hope that they wouldn't get points deductions, relegation to National League North, or whatever. Doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely must do. But fines are meaningless. So Chelsea got, the Premier League wanted a £20 million fine, and it got reduced to £10 million
because of their cooperation,
which is a payoff to a manager, I think, for Chelsea, or the wages of a superstar midfielder for a year. I think Chelsea can deal with that. And remember, this money it's not going to get paid by Chelsea. Chelsea, when they bought the money, they set aside £150 million of the purchase price in case there were mitigating circumstances and issues that had to be paid for. So it's not costing Chelsea.
So is it a cheats charter?
That is kind of headline that you will come up with. I think there's an element. I think there's an element of that. They've got away with it.
But what's it going to mean going forward? For instance, your mate, the football regulator, can they get involved in this sort of stuff?
That's a really good point.
Thanks. But can they? You talk to football regulators all the time. Do they get involved in this and say, could they step in and say, hang on a sec, do you know the people who should step in? The people who should step in are the Football Association. But they're not going to, because they're a property company and they deal with discipline in England now. They're not custodians of the game. The FA,
and the Premier League rules the FA, absolutely. In terms of the regulator, their main focus is on sustainability. So if you can actually draw this into the sustainability argument, then maybe they would have.
What's the point of having a regulator if the regulator can't step in here and say, hang on, I don't think that's good enough?
Well, I absolutely think that this is the type of thing they should be getting involved with, but they have 4 stipulated areas of focus, and you could debate whether off the books payments via the British Virgin Isles, whether that's part of their remit.
Anyway, the winter verdict, Chelsea should have been done points.
Yeah, but the moment I saw it, I looked through it and said, right, where's points deduction, a fine? And also, I then went and reread the Everton verdict, at which the Premier League were talking to the Commission about pushing for a points deduction for Everton.
Okay, but I say to Everton and Forest, you should have spoken up at the Premier League meeting. Yep. That's what I think. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. Next up, it's our Sunday Edition feature, Best of the Best.
the kids, for them last night, horror show. The Wi-Fi didn't work.
Oh my goodness!
I got in.
Panic stations.
As I walked through the door, my eldest, not hello daddy, my eldest, Wi-Fi's down. And I went, can I get through the door first? Okay, yeah. Little one comes down, not little anymore, but come on. No Wi-Fi. And I went, okay, can I walk in? All right. Let's get in. I have something to eat. If you fix the Wi-Fi, by the way, I get a text.
Yeah.
A text from my 14-year-old who's upstairs, can't bother to come down. A text, I'm downstairs. Is the Wi-Fi working? So I text back, can you come down if you want to talk to me?
Yeah.
Comes down. Oh, is it? Because I can't get... No, it's not. It's not us. It's Virgin. It will be fixed. Just wait.
Yeah.
This morning, first thing, no Wi-Fi, still not ready.
So what did you watch last night on TV?
That's a very good question. We had stuff on the planner already saved.
Yeah.
You've got Sky Glass, right?
So if Wi-Fi goes down...
You're in a world of trouble. I've got stuff saved on my planner. I tell you what, I was watching the football, but Mrs. G was watching the end of... I gave up on that. What's that programme called with the woman from Yellowstone?
Oh, the Saltmarsh.
Yeah, I gave up. Episode 3, nothing was happening slowly. I thought, no, not for me.
It's slow, man.
Yeah.
And even I watched all the episodes, and even at the end, I'm a bit like, what have I just watched?
Yeah, I gave up. She was watching it.
Football was good though, but no, do you know what? I bet that was quite nice though. No Wi-Fi.
Well, it was up until every 4 minutes. I'd like, still not working.
Just relax. Listen, you should have hit him with the. You should have hit him with the. When we was younger, there was no such thing as Wi-Fi.
I know. I'm gonna have to use my data up. Oh my god.
This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT. We're with you through till 11 o'clock. I've never seen the text message screen move so fast since our Chelsea conversation. There are lots and lots of messages. I'm just going to pick this one out quickly from Cy the Owl. Hi, lads. As a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I find Chelsea's punishment a joke. Our owner has set us back years, and Chelsea will just pay this fine out of their spare change.
And Sheffield Wednesday, who are obviously going down, could start next season with a 15-point deduction simply because of Shaun Chancery just not helping out in terms of these debts. It's absolutely outrageous.
I mean, it's crackers. It is one rule for one, isn't it? And wonderful. But of course, the Premier League are a collective. They don't raise objections about others. And great old clubs like Sheffield Wednesday can be in danger of going to the wall.
Yeah. I mean, founder members of the Premier League in 92. Was it 1892? They came into the Football League. I mean, they're just an iconic club.
Yeah. Lots more to come on the show as it's a big day for Premier League football. You've got the Carabao Cup final, and we'll hear from former Liverpool and Scotland midfielder Graeme Souness. But now, it's time for this.
One of the greatest tries ever scored, but she won't get there. Kaylee Hodgkinson is the Olympic champion.
I'm going to float like a butterfly and sting like a bee.
Oh, Stephen Harmison, one of the great balls. Double 12! Oh, my word!
Best of the best on Sunday Edition.
I think I'm a special one.
I think he's done it! Yes! You beauty! Let's be having you!
On talkSPORT.
Yeah, best of bests, our weekly feature. Henry and I choose a different topic each week, decide what we think is the best. And this one really, really hurt. So this morning, after Newcastle's 7-2 thumping by Barcelona, we're focusing on the best football thrashings.
Inside the penalty area here, in for 7. That's the best of the lot. He just breaks for Shaun, left-hand side of the penalty area. He chested it down and hit a left-footed volley in off the underside of the bar. Germany in 7th heaven. Brazil in footballing hell.
Young, tight, and he scored 2 absolute beauties. Manchester United showed absolutely no mercy. And
Arsenal have to take it on the chin.
Carrick, crowd urge him to shoot. He does! Oh, Michael Carrick has produced another absolute great hit.
Now, the rule for this, for me and Henry, is that one or other, or both of us, had to have been at this particular thrashing, and Henry was straight away delighted to get into Brazil-Germany, which we did right at the start. Was that your favourite football thrashing of all time?
Well, it was just the astonishing start. I mean, 29 minutes, they were 5-0 up. Okay, so it was World Cup 2014 semi-final.
Copacabana Beach was packed.
Copacabana Beach was packed. We were in Belo Horizonte. It was a slightly painful place for the English to go because 1950, but it was still... Everyone was expecting a Brazil win because even though Neymar wasn't playing because he'd been injured in an earlier game, the way that Brazil came out, and David Luiz, I think he actually had Neymar's shirt over his shoulder, and David Luiz was pumping out the national anthem. Equally significant was Thiago Silva was not in the team, and they absolutely missed it. They were too emotional, and they walked into an utter ambush, and Germany were sensational. I mean, Thomas Müller, Klose, Toni Kroos, 2, Sami Khedira, 5th, and it was, I mean, we were sitting in the press box, and they were Brazilians, some in tears, some just absolutely shocked. And when Oscar finally made it 7-1, Brazilian 8-goal thriller, the Germans actually applauded his goal out of sympathy.
I think the thing about really amazing thrashings is if you didn't see them coming, you didn't really see that was going to happen. Brazil was so pumped up, as you say. And if I took Newcastle's during the week at 2-2 with 1 minute before half time, you didn't see a 7-2 defeat. So it's the shock value of the thrashing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, my son came over to the World Cup because he took one look at the Copacabana beach and he thought he fancied it, and he came over with a friend and they fell in with some Germans on the beach, got in with them, and they kept going to this Brazilian bar. And the day of the semi-final, the Brazilian bar owner said, listen, I know you can't get tickets to the game, come and watch the game in our bar. And because I know Brazil, because they'll be powered by the loss of Neymar, and they'll absolutely take it to Germany. We're the hosts, we're Brazil, and we will win. But anyway, if you score a goal, a consolation goal, I will give each of you a beer. And so they were 5-0 up at half time. I got a message from my son saying, Dad, they're Germans with trays. Just going up and back to the bar. So, yeah, fantastic performance by the Germans.
I picked out 2 Manchester United games, which I was at. I think you were at both of these as well. I picked this one first because I know how much it will have meant to you, because it was Man United 7, Roma 1 in the Champions League quarter-final. Fergie called it United's greatest ever European performance. And why was it so great for you, Henry? Michael Carrick got 2.
Twice. Yeah.
Michael Carrick 2,
and
Ronaldo
one of them
2.
was an absolute belting goal. And that was a good Roma.
I remember
start
Alan
as well.
Smith's, weirdly, which was a break. I mean, it finished it off. I think was it the last one? Anyway, it was a breakaway goal, and he thrashed it half volley into the corner, which was really good. But it was a really special night at Old Trafford. The atmosphere was fantastic. You know, it absolutely took Roma apart. It was brilliant.
There'd been an issue with the Roma ball boys, I think, in the first leg, in terms of Ferguson was absolutely convinced that they were practicing just almost like sort of rugby fly halves, flicking the ball out to make sure they could keep the momentum up. And they were good in that game. But Manchester United was sensational.
And the other one I picked out was Man United 8, Arsenal 2, which was August 2011. And my main memory of this game is Arsenal had just signed Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he was stood on the touchline waiting to come on when I think there was 6-1 or 6-2 down. And I thought, he must be wondering, what on earth have I come into here? Because, again, it was something you didn't see coming.
Wayne Rooney hat-trick, Ashley Young twice, Danny Welbeck.
Good old Danny.
Danny Welbeck and Ji-sung Park scored. I dug out my old match report, and it was Arsenal were unbelievably embarrassing, a disgrace to the shirt. It's quite strong for me. And the Telegraph at the time, with players like Thomas Rosicky and Andrei Arshavin so poor, it was astonishing to think they were actually internationals. And then I have my usual go at Wenger, patently in denial at his squad's deficiencies. Anyway, it was an extraordinary game. Was that 2011? That 8-2?
Yeah, 2011. Right, what else do you pick out? Because I've had a couple of Man United ones.
Well, Germany won, England 5.
I think the thrashing has to be more than 5, you see. Much as I love that game, it's one of my favourite games of all time to cover. But is 5 enough? for a thrashing?
Well, I mean, I think the
Real thrashing?
Yeah, I mean, even Heskey scored.
Yes,
I mean,
well,
you know,
there you go then.
That's how I think he entitled his autobiography. So I feel that I can say that. I mean, all goals were scored by Liverpool players. Obviously, the Owen hat trick, Gerrard's goal, fantastic layoff from Rio Ferdinand, of course. But I think the fact that it wasn't it 1-1, and then England went through the afterburners.
And Carsten Janker missed a chance to make it.
He did. He did. And the FA was so excited about it that they had loads of 5-1 cufflinks made up.
So would that be? I mean, that is, as I say, my top 3 games I've ever reported on. But it's just a brilliant performance. Whether I'd call it an absolute thrashing, it probably is. It's on enemy soil, and of course, you didn't expect it.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's the.
I mean, it was quite significant because it was early in Sven's reign. Germany hadn't been there.
It was. We lost the home game.
Well, absolutely, the Keegan one.
Yeah. Now, in the interests of balance, because I started by talking about Newcastle's thrashing by Barcelona, I'm going to balance it up with a Newcastle thrashing, which I was at. And this is Newcastle 7, Leicester 1 in 1993. Why this is so much fun is we were celebrating having won promotion back to the top division. And we were 6 up at half-time. It was a party atmosphere. The other thing about it is we lifted what was the First Division trophy, because the season before, Leeds United had won it, the top division trophy, but of course it changed to the Premier League the next season. So we got that trophy. So Leeds United's name is written on it. Then it's us, even though it was the second divion.
And do you have it?
Do we still have the trophy?
Yeah.
Well, no, because it's passed on now. It's champion. It goes on to who won the championship after that. But we were lifting the same trophy as what was the Premier League champions the year before.
But it changed name?
Well, it was
so you can call yourself.
We call our name is on that after Leeds United, and it was the start of Keegan's Entertainers, the real start of Keegan's Entertainers. So a special era. So I thoroughly enjoyed that day.
Would you include the 5-1 against Manchester United as a thrashing?
Yeah.
What was it? You had a video, wasn't it? Hawaii 5-0. Yeah, sorry, 5-0, wasn't it?
Right.
Philip Albert's.
Oh, great finish. Yes, I suppose it is, but we didn't see that coming either. To be fair, that was a thrashing. Yes.
Sunday after.
So we've had a few. I know there's the 8-0 against Sheffield Wednesday and Shearer scored 5, but I wasn't there, and I wasn't at the 5-0 against Man United, so I can't really claim those. The criteria was we had to be there. And
you're coming up with all these great Newcastle victories.
I know, just to balance off what happened in the week. I know. Are
you confident for today?
Yes.
You are?
Yes, I'll go into that a bit more. Yeah, because I think we're hurting so much. Crowd's up for it. Team's up for it. I am.
Good.
We'll get to that later. Next up, we'll hear Henry's exclusive chat with former Liverpool and Scotland midfielder Graeme Souness.
And 35 players have been named. Jason Steele has got his first call-up as part of a 5 goalkeeping battalion that also includes James Trafford, Aaron Ramsdale, Jordan Pickford and Dean Henderson. The defenders that have been included, with a bit of surprise maybe for Kayo Tomori. John Stones has been included. Jarrell Quansah is back in the squad. Harry Maguire has got a recall as well. The other defenders, Byrne, Gahey, Hall, Konsa, Livramento, O'Reilly and Jed Spence of Tottenham Hotspur. The midfielders that have been called into the squad include James Garner, who gets a call-up for the first time to the England senior squad, Anderson, Bellingham, Henderson, Mainu, who's back in after some good performances under Michael Carrick. We'll see him tonight live on talkSPORT when we bring you Bournemouth against Manchester United. Declan Rice, Morgan Rogers and Adam Wharton. And then the forwards, and there's quite a lot, but there's no room for Ollie Watkins, Bowen, Calvert-Lewin, Eze, Foden, Gordon, Kane, Madueke, Palmer, Rashford, Saka and Solanke. No Watkins in the squad. No Trent Alexander-Arnold in the squad. And actually, Gabby Agbonlaho's last statement before we went to the break was, do we think we're that good that we can afford to not have a Real Madrid right back in a 35-man squad?
Incredible.
I was looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold and his statistics. He's started 7 of the last 8. He's played 3 90 minutes since his return from injury. You were impressed with him, were you, in the game against Manchester City?
I was, both legs. Yes, he had a lot of help from Valverde and other players on that side, but...
Who would have thought a sporting event's halftime show could have a bigger impact than the game itself? Well, the Super Bowl halftime show does exactly that. In 2024, Usher brought in an audience of 180 million worldwide, the biggest ever in the event's history. But how did singing and dancing get to be the centrepiece of America's biggest sporting event? The first edition of the Super Bowl was held in 1967, when the Green Bay Packers beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Los Angeles. Because of the sheer size of the event, organisers wanted to put on entertainment at halftime for the fans in the stadium. It was a display of marching bands, dancers and pure USA patriotism, and that was the theme that followed for years. In the 1980s, the Walt Disney Company got involved and we started seeing some interesting and questionable displays. But we got our first glimpse of halftime shows to come in '93, when none other than Michael Jackson stunned fans with his 15-minute medley of his own smash hits. When he walked out on stage, he had to wait for the crowd's cheers to die down for about 2 minutes before even starting his first song. Diana Ross, Gloria Estefan, Phil Collins all starred in their own shows, as did Aerosmith, who performed alongside NSYNC. Things got a little bit out of hand in 2004 when Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson produced perhaps the most famous or infamous wardrobe malfunction in history. Shows from the likes of Prince, Lady Gaga and Beyoncé are considered by critics as the best. To give you an idea of the scale of things, Rihanna's 2023 halftime show included roughly 800 people. These ranged from backing dancers to stage crew to camera operatives broadcasting to millions around the world. The whole stage for that show was built in roughly 8 minutes and was broken down and cleared away in the same time. The acts perform for free nowadays, even though the experts reckon it costs around $13 million to put on Rihanna's show. Artists know they'll rocket up the charts in the following weeks. Rihanna's average sales improved by 140% in the months following her performance. The Super Bowl halftime show will be a fixture in pop culture for years to come. So the question is, who next?
Halfway through Sunday edition, plenty more to come, including now a look ahead to the Carabao Cup final and Graeme Souness, our special guest. But I just want to catch up with some texts and WhatsApps. Andy Hayes misinterpreted something from Henry. He says, Shaun and Henry think you'll find Sheffield Wednesday weren't a founder member of the Football League. Henry didn't say they were. He said they were a founder member of the Premier League. Did you not?
Yeah, they've gone up, I think, a couple of seasons before from second tier. Yeah.
They were. We did say about our thrashings that we had to have been there in order for it to qualify as best thrashings. So somebody's going, Tottenham 9, Wigan 1, Redknapp Spurs in full flow, Defoe 5. Were you at that one?
Honestly, I could have been.
You can't remember. Were you at Stoke 6, Liverpool 1 in 2015?
Possibly.
I'm not sure I remember that. Anyway, on another note, Anonymous, major hold-up on the A1 to Newcastle, traffic stop, nightmare. I don't know whether that's true or not, but doesn't bode well for people going to the Derby.
Well, there have been a few issues around Pontefract,
I don't think it's Pontefract. Surely that's for Sunderland fans heading there and Newcastle fans who live south of the river. I'm not sure they're talking about down in Pontefract.
Well, no, I'm just thinking of...
Could be around the Angel of the North, where it's always a hold-up.
Yeah, well, they're still doing the work there. No, but there are Newcastle and Sunderland fans in the south who will be driving up.
Yeah.
There were always those Newcastle fans who would get off the train at Durham, and if they managed to run from one end of the train to the other along the platform and get back on, Newcastle would always win.
Quirky.
Very quirky. Anyway, there you go.
The latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live. Matt Ford and Jacob Hawley speak to one of football's leading psychologists, Dan Abrahams, all about the mindset of an elite-level footballer. Here's Dan explaining why Premier League clubs are often miserable environments due to the overwhelming pressure on everyone at the club.
I think players are much more aware of the things being said about them on social media than we all might think they are.
Yeah.
When you're off the pitch, there are thousands of people and they're willing to criticise you whilst tagging you in that. Compared to 10, 15 years ago, is that a factor that you have to work on with teams and players?
Massively, yeah. And they are aware. They are absolutely aware because you can't get rid of the human cognition of curiosity. Evolutionary psychology is based on the need to strive to get along and get ahead, right? And part of getting along and getting ahead is this natural curiosity. We've got to look to the side and go, what are people saying about me here? And so you are striving to help players to use social media in either an effective way or don't use it at all. But they do need to be disciplined enough to, if they're going to avoid it, then keep avoiding it, irrespective of how you play and what's going on. Or if you're going to engaging it in the most adaptive way.
Sports psychologist Dan Abrahams there on How to Win the World Cup. That's available now wherever you get your podcasts from. You love social media, Henry. Do you agree with him?
Well, I don't think football clubs are miserable places. What a fantastic way to spend your life. Going into training, everything set out for you. Beautiful pitches, getting well paid. I mean, what's
you have to cope with all this social media stuff as well.
Well, I wouldn't allow phones in the
but
dressing
you still
room.
See them when you come out.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that. And a lot of the abuse is absolutely disgraceful. But, you do get players will go on looking for sort of validation or who said nice things about me. Well, just leave it 24 hours.
On to the England squad now. Now, Henry's been campaigning for squads of 55 or whatever for the World Cup, and he nearly got there with Thomas Tuchel's warm-up squad for the World Cup, where we've got 35, but there was no place for Henry's favourite player, Trent Alexander-Arnold, or mine, Danny Welbeck, who I think should get in. But it was a curious type of squad, wasn't it, where he picked so many players for the first bit and then some more for the second bit and send some home from after the Uruguay game.
I liked it.
You liked it?
Yeah, I do.
Apart from that bit about Trent.
Well, the Trent thing is ridiculous. But just on the splitting the squad, I mean, it's effectively an audition for the first game against Uruguay, and then what is almost effectively going to be his starting 11 when you look at some of the players, like Konza, Gay, O'Reilly, Anderson, Rice, Saka, Rodgers, Gordon and Kane.
I think you find Burns in that.
Well, Byrne is in that squad, but I don't see how he can start for England. I mean, I'm amazed. I know you love
effectively a squad. No, I'm not. I don't think he's an England starter. I really don't.
No, but if you look at the defence, unless you're going to play Concert at right back and have Byrne and Gay as your centre halves, I mean, I think Byrne is a fantastic player. He's incredibly popular. Tuchel likes him because he's tall and because he has an impact at set pieces, as he keeps telling us. But I think we saw in your game the other day that he can be vulnerable. So look, I think if James is fit, and everyone's hoping that his hamstring recovers for Chelsea's benefit, for England's benefit, James comes back in at right back, and then obviously Pickford, who's in the first part of the squad, steps up.
And you've got Livramento there as well as a right back too. So how would Trent get in anyway?
He's got
James and
he's
you'd want him in midfield. Well, you were the other.
No, as
30 midfielders.
As Tuchel highlighted, he's got Jed Spence in there, Kwanzaa in there, Livramento's in there. Kwanzaa can obviously play over there as well. I just think it's bizarre that a player of his calibre, of his ability to turn defence into attack with that. I mean, if you imagine, if you're Anthony Gordon and you're bombing down the left and you've got Trent who can do a 60-yard switch and release his pace, that is quite a weapon. And also, as Tuchel keeps reminding us, who can take penalties, and Trent has taken a fairly significant one for England in the past.
It's a defensive thing, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. When he said profile, it's a defensive thing. So let's bring back Gary Neville then.
No.
I just thought that given there was no Reece James, given that Kyle Walker had retired, given that Kieran Trippier is obviously playing right back for you, he's retired as well. The fact that Trent Alexander wouldn't be considered in the top 7 right backs, I just find it's extraordinary.
No Ollie Watkins, were you surprised by that?
A little bit, yeah. I feel a bit for Ollie Watkins. I mean, we saw at the Euros that he can come off the bench and score significant goals.
But I mean, you've got Solanke and Calvert-Lewin. Which of those two would you perhaps have left out to put Watkins in?
Probably Solanke. I mean, Calvert-Lewin's had a good season. He's staying fit, which is the important thing. He hasn't scored for a bit, not freely for a bit. I mean, it just highlights the gap between Harry Kane, and this is why
he's doing very well. Scored 31
unbelievable.
goals,
and this is why this is. I mean, it's always a huge tournament, but is Harry Kane? Will he be 35 at the next World Cup?
Unless he'll be playing in that one.
But probably as a 10. I mean, he will drop off a bit. You think he'll still be playing at the next World Cup?
Fitness permitting, yeah, I do.
Yeah, well,
because you say the gap about Harry Kane, but is it not also because Harry Kane's such a good player? That's why you have the gap. The others are probably okay.
Yeah,
but he is so good that we have that gap. Let's be fair. The whole of Europe is waking up to how good he is. Ballon d'Or. You vote in this. Can you give an opinion on whether he's in for the Ballon d'Or, Henry?
Well, no, because the voting's not for ages.
Well, you're a voter. And you're not allowed to say whether you think he might win the Ballon d'Or.
But look, he's an exceptional player, and England are incredibly fortunate to have him. But coming back to the point, I mean, I think there was a hope in the England age group system at the Football Association that Liam Delap would train on, but it hasn't really worked for him at Chelsea so far, which is frustrating because there's a good player. What with Liam Delap?
Well, is there a good player in there?
Yeah,
I'm trying to work.
So, yeah.
Is there? Well, what's going on then? Because he's getting some minutes now at Chelsea when he comes on, but it's not working out.
I just thought it was a strange club for him to go to. I think if he'd gone to your place, I could have seen him being just...
Well, yeah, but an established German international went there as a striker.
He's a 10. He's a 10.
Keep saying
he's not 10, a midfielder. He's not a 9.
Anyway, that's another discussion.
Well, what do you think he is?
I don't...
Voldemort.
I don't know. At the minute, he sits on the subs bench and doesn't get on even when you think we need a goal.
Would you sell him?
No. We've invested in him, so you've got to work out a way of... Just playing him.
Play him at 10.
Slightly side issue, that. Just finally, just on this goalkeeper thing, which is a bit weird, as Brighton's substitute is kind of in the squad as a training goalkeeper. Why?
Oh, well, I
Don't
understand.
we have goalkeeping coaches?
Well, we had Tom Heaton at the last Euros, so you had the fourth goalkeeper.
Yeah.
When you look at the goalkeepers train, and we obviously get to see them a lot as we wait for our 15 minutes with the outfield players at closed training, it kind of makes sense for them to have 4 goalkeepers to rotate, particularly if they're then going to be playing small-sided games and it's split up around the pitch. I understand the logic of having a 4th goalkeeper, but he's unregistered. He's not there as a sort of 27th
But he'll have his suit on and he'll be in the pictures?
Yeah.
And on the plane?
Yeah, absolutely. But I asked Tuchel the other day. I said, is he actually the one player of all this 35 who's guaranteed to be on the plane? Because he's kind of like the sort of, he is there as the older statesman. Look, good for him, and he's obviously incredibly popular. You saw the scenes that Brighton put out on their social media about how well the other players reacted to him. So, yeah, good luck to him.
First of two friendlies, England v Uruguay. It's on talkSPORT, 8:15 on Friday night. That'll be presented by Adrian Durham with commentary from Jim Proudfoot and former England captain Stuart Pearce. We follow that up with England v Japan, Tuesday 31st of March. That's presented by Adrian as well, with commentary from Jim Proudfoot and former England captain Stuart Pearce as well. So they're the two big games to get our teeth into.
It's a pity they're that way round, because you would really want the Uruguay, which you would imagine would be a slightly bigger test, to be the second game when you're playing effectively 9 of your likely starting 11.
We shall see. This is Sunday edition on talkSPORT with Shaun, Custis and Henry Winter. Next up, Graeme Souness.
Is Eze England's best option now at number 10?
Oh,
no.
I think you've got so many options. I mean, I would say nay at the moment, yeah.
For who?
Well, you're looking at, there's so many players can play in there, aren't there? Well, Andy Sanders has just said Rodgers should be better on the left, but he can also play on number 10. You've got Bellingham, who, look, whatever season he's had, he does turn up for the big games. He can play in big games. Would he be in front of Eze? Look, Eze scored a cracking goal the other night. There's no doubt in that. And he's banged one in the FA Cup the other day. He's starting to score a few more goals, which is very important. But I'll still I don't think he'll be in that starting number 10.
No, Bellingham for me. You can't ignore Bellingham's talent, and people who do really need to take a look at themselves.
But Eze's putting pressure. He's putting pressure on himself. Don't get me wrong. He's putting pressure on.
Jude Bellingham doesn't get the credit he deserves for the career he's had already.
He's a young lad.
Because he rates himself, people hate him.
Yeah,
yeah, but you can be confident in your own ability.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be overconfident. But you still got to be confident. You ain't going to be a player if you're not confident going forward.
Do you remember when your interview with Thomas Tuchel when he was like, I mean, my mother finds him repulsive? Yeah. I was like,
I don't.
Did you come back from that?
He's not scared to leave one out, Tuchel, though. He ain't going to just pick you for the sake of it. That's what I like about the manager. Because sometimes you can pick people because their reputation and this, that, and that, whatever, but he won't do that. Tuchel will go, right, whoever deserves to play will play.
Yeah.
Is Saka guaranteed to start, Yearney?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I think he would definitely start on that right-hand side, yes.
Morning, you're listening to Sunday Edition here on talkSPORT, and we'll be discussing Tyne-Wear Derby and Carabao Cup final in the last half hour. But earlier in the week, Henry, you spoke to former Liverpool and Scotland midfielder Graeme Souness.
Well, yeah, I mean, Graeme is a football legend. I mean, at Liverpool as a player, 5 titles, 3 European Cups, as we used to call them in old money, since they became the Champions League trophies at Sampdoria, 2 titles with Rangers as a player. Then he went into management with Rangers, Liverpool, Galatasaray, and Blackburn Rovers. And you know, he grew up in Edinburgh, and played for Tynecastle Boys Club, and he's got involved in a scheme helping grassroots initiative across the country, but obviously he wanted to go and see one close to home in Edinburgh, so he took a training session at East House Lily Miners Welfare Football Club. I mean, I know the club. I played East of Scotland League there, and it's brilliant that a bona fide football legend like Graeme Souness went there to take a training session. So I started off by asking Graeme about this scheme that he's involved in, the reason why he was at East House, and he's handing over a £2,000 grant as part of £500,000, which is involved this initiative, Cash for Club scheme, funded by Flutter UK and Ireland. So here is Graeme.
It was called East House's Lily Miners Welfare FC. Yeah. And it was like going back to when I was a boy. You know, you walk in the dressing room, the same smells. Yeah. These are all, they were some adults, but it just took me back. As you can imagine, I only have good memories or great memories of that sort of dressing room. You know, there's no blaring music, there's no televisions, there's no, you know, there's a couple of showers in the bathroom area. It was just great to be back in it. And I think I said at the time, that smell is with you forever. I don't know, is it what's it, liniment?
Liniment, yeah.
Yeah. And the smells in that, and the slightly damp smell, because it obviously doesn't get used every day of the week, your dressing room. It took me back. We've spent 500 grand this year. Since 2008, it's 8 million quid.
Brilliant.
So, you know, it's playing its part. You know, it's putting something back in. Flutter are putting something back into the community. You know, I come back to the word mental health, which is something, thank God, I've never suffered from, and a lot of people do. But being around like-minded people can only be good for you. And I think what I witnessed the other night, as I said to you just now, they show the same enthusiasm for turning up and training properly and the banter. It's very similar to a Premier League situation.
Do you think it's particularly pertinent for the sort of the younger generation, because they seem, you know, we've got kids, and that they seem to be affected more, whether it's social media, whether it's concerns about the future, the wider world?
Yeah, I think it's all linked. I think it's all linked to the internet, isn't it? You know, where do you go today for your reliable news? You know, where do you go? Who do you listen to? And that must be so confusing for young people. You know, you have influencers on there. You have people who are extremists one way or the other. Who do you actually get the news that is true and an honest opinion? For me, you know, because I'm an old man now, it doesn't impact on me. But I can imagine for young people who are finding their way in life, is very, very difficult. Listen to grassroots campaign. You know, so I'm sure that these guys turn up, and although they're the guys I went to see the other day, you know, it was a football club, and I'm sure, you know, they may go to the pub afterwards and talk about different things, but for that couple of hours, it was just football. We didn't have a good result last time out, and this time we must do better. We must, you know, stick together through the difficult times. And they are experiencing a bit of a difficult time, but they'll get through it.
Who do you admire? Who do you enjoy watching, either as leaders or as footballers, particularly midfielders?
Silva would be the outstanding one for me. I think he's just been phenomenal.
Bernardo Silva at City?
Yeah, I just think he's been phenomenal. And obviously De Bruyne before that. Incredibly talented. Rodri pre-injury was exceptional. All City players. I like Fernandes at Man United. I was at the game when they lost 7 at Anfield, and he didn't cover himself in glory that day. Basically threw the towel in. and I was never sure if he was quite captain material. But when you hear him speak, he interviews really well, and the qualities he has. I have said in the past, if he had, when Man City were the dominant team, I say, you put him in that Man City team, he's got that kind of talent. He'd be welcomed by any football club because he's got that much ability. But I did question him on that day at Anfield when they went 5-0 down. He just started walking around, throwing his hands in the air. But he's undoubted talent, isn't he?
Your old team, Liverpool.
Well, I think a large part of the problem this year have been the midfield, in terms of having the same intense, closing down. What is it, pressing? It's pressing today, isn't it?
Yeah.
That intensity when they don't have the ball, I think a large part is due to that, as well as I think the single biggest factor for Liverpool is Salah's not got anywhere near the numbers that he normally gets. That's impacting on the rest of them. I think it's been a bit of a wake-up call for the manager and maybe the supporters, thinking they've got some big personalities in that dressing room. Well, I think over a season, if they actually existed, we would have seen them by now, because they have been so indifferent for 7 months now. I thought Galatasaray were poor. They had no belief when they turned up. And Liverpool beat a poor Galatasaray. And what did we learn about Liverpool last night? I'm not sure.
Szoboszlai's been good for Liverpool this season.
Yeah, he's the most wonderful striker of the ball. Does he do the other side of it? When you're talking about pushing up to the halfway line and holding a high line, you can only do that if you're totally, and you think of Liverpool's problems, you can only do that when the rest of the players in front of you are pressing the ball all the time and keeping the head down of the man in possession. And Liverpool have not been very good at it this year. So how many times you see them, people going straight down the middle? Look at Tottenham last weekend. The ball that was causing them just straight down the middle with Gomez. It was Gomez and Van Dijk. So I would suggest a lot of the problem has been that midfield not hunting it down and keeping opposition's head down when they're in possession.
We look for players. We always compare players now with players of the past. There are not many who had or have your range of skills in terms of winning the ball, in terms of using it, the leadership, the dead ball. And you would love football nowadays with these pitches, these conditions.
I'm glad you've asked that. The question I get asked, maybe more than anything, could you play today? So the question for me should be, the way I see it, could the lads today have played in the 70s before and the 80s when I played? Now, it was a different game with different pitches and different referees. So I'll ask you the question. If I describe a scenario, where do you need the better technique? On a bobbly pitch, when referees were allowing a bit of thuggery to go on, or a carpet where referees blow the whistle at the first sign of any physical contact? Where do you need stronger mentality and where do you need better technique?
I'll just ask you a couple of final questions, if I can. Scotland going into a World Cup. You miss a centre forward, but have they got a chance?
Yeah, spot on, Henry, spot on. They miss a goal scorer. Our biggest threat's McTominay.
Yeah,
and it'll be difficult conditions for Northern Europeans. We play in Boston, it'll be hot. Miami, it'll be super hot. But they've got a chance. I look back in my career and think certainly 2 out of the 3 we should have got through out the group stages. But they've got a chance, but it won't be easy.
Yeah, and just when you got your OBE a couple of years ago, the citation was for football and also for charity. Mm-hmm. Which meant most to you?
Charity. Because my football career is behind me, and I've had the most unbelievable time in football. But we've brought awareness to a condition that no one knew about, Henry. A condition that is the cruelest thing out there that I've ever witnessed.
And he did, and he's done great charity work, Graeme, but also his thoughts on football, never dull, is he? Always insightful, never goes out of fashion, really. Great point about would the players today have been able to play in his day?
Yeah, we developed that argument about George Best at the baseball ground when it was which is the old Derby County's old stadium, and it was like a ploughed pitch, but Best would just float across it, and his point, and I didn't really feel I needed to answer it because it was almost a rhetorical question, that you need better skill, the technique of him and a Best on those pitches to control it. And you would think that some of the pitches that Graeme grew up on, the sort of, the red shell and pitches like that, I mean, like you probably grew up on some very
bubbly pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and that was the
very
pavement.
bad technique. With very bad technique. Graeme might not have survived some of the tackles that he put in these in today's game, though.
I mean, it's just some.
I mean, he was a hard man, but
he could
prone
play.
To miss time.
The thing about that Liverpool team and Graeme Souness, if you wanted to give them a football game, they'd absolutely have it. If you wanted to give them a fight, they'd have it too.
Great player. Great player. This is Sunday Edition on talkSPORT, and talkSPORT Breakfast returns tomorrow morning. Ali McCoist and Ray Parlour are your hosts, and don't forget, you can listen to the talkSPORT Daily via the talkSPORT app. Today's episode, talkSPORT's Ben Jacobs speaks to former West Ham United striker Mikel Antonio. Coming up, we look ahead to the big derby with co-commentator Mickey Gray. But before that, it's the news headlines.
How do you feel that Jamie's wearing your mask? How do you feel about that?
I can't even see him. I can't see him.
I haven't got the mask on. I haven't got the mask on.
Fully got it on.
See it.
Breathing in there, the lot.
Do you know what? All I can say is I wish I had the mask on now.
To be fair, you look like Ange.
It's just who we are, mate. Your team play like
Seriously
Ange.
though, mate.
Is this it? Can we end it now?
mate. You've turned into a meme club, you are.
Can
You're
we
a
end
meme
this
club.
interview now?
No.
Hold on. Say that again.
You've turned into a meme football club.
I remember. I mean, the last week, I don't think I've ever known a week like it, right? So you go back to Wednesday of last week and 74 minutes on the clock, and you think about what's happened. Conceded 5 goals in 30 minutes.
Slap.
Jesus Christ. Listen,
has anyone seen Candy? Dennis Wise?
Right, okay, hold on.
Solar.
Yeah, hold on.
And then there you go.
Listen,
Who's that? Who's that?
No, leave it, man. Leave it. No, you swear. No, I'm doing something. No.
But did you think you would come from 3-0 down? Did he think he'd come from 3-0 down?
It was confident. It was encouraging signs, he said.
You're
Encouraging signs.
PSG?
I'm a United fan.
He's a bloody United fan.
Hey!
Don't swear.
Come on, boys. Listen, at the end of the day.
Hold on, who are you playing in the Champions League?
No, listen, who's going to play next year? Who's going to play next year?
Champions League. I'm getting sick of United fans.
This is Sunday Edition here on talkSPORT, where we're looking at Newcastle v Sunderland, a Tyne-Wear derby midday kick-off. Newcastle dumped out the Champions League by Barcelona. It was some thumping, that was. But Sunderland have only won one of their last 6 fixtures, but Sunderland did beat Newcastle earlier in the season 1-0. Joining us now is the enemy, former Sunderland star and co-commentator for this game, Mickey Gray. Mickey, good morning.
Shaun, hey Henry, how are you doing?
Hi, Mickey. You're always a friend to us.
So, how are you feeling about this one? Obviously, Newcastle lost 1-0 in the earlier season fixture. They've been thumped by Barcelona, but I feel, as a Newcastle fan, the team will be bang up for it, the fans will be bang up for it, they want revenge. Maybe there'll be too much passion about it.
Yeah, I think that's the worry, isn't it, Shaun? Obviously, you want to try and get one over your fiercest rivals, and knowing what happened back in December, I think there's no doubt that these Newcastle supporters and the players are going to be up for it. I think it's going to be very easy and quick for them to get over that second half against Barcelona and just leave everything out on the pitch today, as you have to do in a derby game. But I think there's kind of worrying signs coming out the Sunderland camp with the injuries that they've got and maybe what the starting 11 might be today. But they've just got to try and get out there and just kind of put everything to bed, if you like, and play it as a derby game and see what happens. But there's no doubt, I think Newcastle obviously go into this one as favourites.
I don't know whether you've been on the end of a severe thrashing like that, like Newcastle have. But how do you recover it? You say they'll put that to one side, they'll get on with this because it's a big derby and all your concentration has to be on them. There's got to be some lingering concerns about what happened.
Yeah, well, I think the best thing that can happen, Shaun, and obviously happens quite a lot now because the amount of games, is you want the next game to come round quick. And I think when you look at the fixture list and you know it's Sunderland coming to St James's Park, I think that's how quick you get over it. Eddie will have to instill that into his players. I think the players will know a little bit more about what a derby game means now after playing at the Stadium of Light, a few of them for the first time. And let's hope that somebody who's about 6'7" doesn't score in the wrong net this time again.
Mickey, can I take you back to August 1999? Newcastle 1, Sunderland 2. I've just about dried out from an extraordinary occasion. Rudy Gullit got, I think, sacked the next day. I think Duncan Ferguson won the race with Alan Shearer to go through his door rather than opening it at the training ground the next day. What was that like to play in terms of that atmosphere?
Well, weirdly, Henry, coming to the ground was just like a normal derby game. But I think when we stepped into the dressing room, we'd heard little rumours that there might be a few changes to the starting 11, and then Peter Reid came in with a team sheet and kind of pinned it on the wall, and we saw Shearer and Ferguson on the bench. Well, you can imagine we were all rubbing our hands together and thinking, no, this can't be right. But then we got out onto the pitch, and it was. Both players were on the bench, Ruud Gullit, and as you mentioned there before, I mean, we thought that the game was going to get cancelled. I've never seen rain come down like that in a stadium, and it was just incredible. But it was just about getting your head down, knuckling down, and getting on with the game. And obviously, it's nice to come out and top in a game like that. Derby games are special, and I think this one's certainly top of the Christmas tree. It's just an incredible game to be involved in.
You wouldn't have cared about it much, Mickey, but there was some incredible soggy laptops that night.
Yeah, because the stand wasn't up, was it, Shaun? I think.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, just that press box at Newcastle is so difficult to work in when it's raining, is it not?
I didn't mind the soggy laptops. It was when half the Newcastle press corps came in and took their trousers off and laid them over a radiator to dry out. But on a serious note, that showed what this fixture is all about. It's all about pure heart, isn't it? And you showed it that night.
Yeah, without a doubt. Because I think if you look on paper, and this was with the greatest respect to my teammates, you look at the stars that Newcastle have, and we couldn't beat them. In a football game, you can't beat them with ability and talent. We did it a different way under Peter Reid, and it was a special way that we had. We had a great bond. Our dressing room was really tight. And I think when we used to come into these games, it was all about winning a battle. We always used to say that, win the battle first, and then you earn the right to play football. And that's what these games sometimes boil down to. I know football's changed since I was playing over the last 15 years. It's more technical now. But I don't think much is going to change today. I have to be completely honest with you. I think if Sunderland do have any chance of getting anything from this game today, I think they have to win that battle, because technically, you'd probably say Newcastle probably have better players.
Sunderland had such a barnstorming start to the season. They've been through a sort of sticky patch, but you've still got to hold your hands up and say Regis and Briss done a brilliant job this season. Sunderland are safe. in some ways, it's a bit of a free hit. I realise you always want to win the derby, but there's a lot less pressure on Sunderland, isn't there?
Yeah, possibly, Shaun. I understand where you're coming from. I think first and foremost, I think the priority or the target for Sunderland was to stay in the Premier League with survival. 40 points is an absolutely incredible return, and yes, over the last couple of months, I think the form's kind of dipped a little bit. But I think people have also forgotten that we lost 7 or 8 players to the AFCON for a long time as well, and they had to deal with that, and they certainly did that. It's been a breath of fresh air because the last couple of seasons, the sides that have been promoted from the Championship have obviously gone straight back down into the Championship. So yeah, it's great to see that Sunderland are going to survive. Leeds United have obviously still got a fighting chance themselves. I think Burnley are probably going to go back down to the Championship, but it just shows you with the right recruitment, the right manager and the right personnel and a great dressing room, you give yourself a heck of a chance of staying in the Premier League. And what they have to do now, Sunderland, is start to look and get themselves ready for next season. I think everybody probably maybe thinks that a priority is a striker next season, somebody who's going to get 10 or 15 goals. But at least the foundations are there. They've got some talented players here.
Mickey, who's had the better season of the two clubs?
Well, it's kind of difficult, isn't it, Henry? Because of Champions League football and Newcastle. I think I heard Shaun saying the other week, I think he would have preferred to beat Barcelona rather than beat Sunderland. Well, I hope that's right this afternoon, Shaun. But look, Newcastle are in a different place to Sunderland. It pains me to say that, it really does. But you've got a side who should be challenging for Champions League football every single season. You've got another side who are challenging for survival. So how can you kind of compare the two clubs at the moment? I think slowly it is for Sunderland over the next couple of seasons. Keep progressing, get yourself into a top half side, and then maybe start to push for European positions if you possibly can. Where Newcastle's ambitions, I think I heard quite a few people from the northeast saying that Champions League football and even winning the Premier League is a priority. So I think you put them on par at the end of the season. I really do, Henry.
Mickey Gray, top talkSPORT co-commentator. Hope you have a miserable afternoon, Mickey.
Likewise, Shaun.
Midday kickoff is on talkSPORT, Newcastle v Sunderland. You're listening to Sunday Edition. To finish, we look at the Carabao Cup final between Arsenal and Man City.
Feel that Arne Slot is getting his excuses in early before they meet PSG?
I just think that ultimately Liverpool have had a great result and well done them. And people suggesting that Arne Slot was under pressure for this game, they come out and smashed Galatasaray.
Right.
Fantastic. But I don't like managers building in some comfort zone into... There's no need to build up PSG as a boogeyman. There's every suggestion that you shouldn't be sitting there on television like I was advocating for a moment ago saying, we're going to smash PSG, because I know that puts you as a hostage to fortune.
Right.
But there's no need to start building in how good PSG are, what they are and what they're not. Who cares? How good are you and what do you do? And there's no need to build in the fact that you're playing Brighton on Saturday at 12:30, because, by the way, Brighton haven't got the same sort of squad as you got.
All right.
So,
I mean, but surely last night against Galatasaray, it was a near-perfect performance. Is that not what Liverpool fans worldwide have been calling out for? And is it going to go anyway to calming the Slot sceptics, of whom there are many? Ian, big Liverpool fan, you're first up again. What would you like to say? Good morning.
Hi, lads. Okay.
Good, Ian.
I totally agree with Simon. He's getting like a buffer in place there before we play them. He shouldn't be saying things like that. We're playing PSG. They're a good side. They won it last year. But at the end of the day, we're Liverpool Football Club. And what we've got to do is just get at them and the same type of tempo we played last night, that's what we need even more. So I totally agree with Simon. Sometimes in some of his language he says on the interviews, it does sound like he's like he's getting excuses in early, and it gets on my nerves. You know, if he fails to realise he's managing one of the biggest clubs in the world.
Straight to team news now from Newcastle v Sunderland with Joe Shannon.
Good morning. Yes, there are two changes for Newcastle to the side beaten 7-2 by Barcelona in the Champions League in midweek. Botman for Chow, Voltemada for Tonali, who misses out today. He was a doubt in the build-up, having limped off in Barcelona. Aaron Ramsdale is the Newcastle goalkeeper. Trippier, Botman, Byrne and Hall. Ramsey and Joel Linton. Elanga, Voltemada and Barnes in support of Gordon up front. One alteration for Sunderland, 09 for Ballard in central defence. Elborg is their goalkeeper. Hertrauder, 09, Alderete and Hume. Xhaka holding, Rigg, Diarra, Siddiqui and Talby behind Brian Brobby up front. It's a midday start for Newcastle against Sunderland live on talkSPORT.
Thank you, Joe. Now let's look at the latest odds ahead of today's action with William Hill.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing from William Hill. 18 plus gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
And it's hello to Lee Phelps from William Hill, who's in the studio.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. I've been listening all the way up from all the way down from West Yorkshire, so it's been a great
Good
show.
man, you must have set off early.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 7 o'clock. Yeah.
Let's start the Carabao Cup final. We haven't had much chance to talk about that this morning, but you can wax lyrical.
Yeah, no,
things can happen.
Fascinating game, isn't it? For all the reasons that you have mentioned, and I heard Tony Cascarino and Shaun mention it earlier on. You've got Arsenal on the verge of obviously winning that first trophy for a while, and it seems like a psychological
almost 6 years since the FA Cup.
They're 6-5 to win it in the 90 minutes. Odds on to win to lift the trophy. Obviously, that's taken into account extra time penalties. The draw 21-10 and Man City 9-4 in the 90 minutes. Of course, City have like the modern masters of the League Cup, just as Liverpool had that stranglehold on it. You know, back in the 80s, it seems like Man City 5 wins in the last 10 years, although none in the last 4. But Arsenal going for the quadruple, aren't they?
What are the quadruple odds?
Well, they started. I checked this. They started out at 400-1 when we opened the market in September. Wow. We took a few £10 and £20 bets on that, by the way. They were 66-1 on Christmas Day. They're now 17-2, so 8.5-1 to win all 4. That's mad, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, City can still win multiple trophies still, can't they? We kind of forget about them. I think they're 28-1 to win the treble. That's the Premier, the league and the 2 cups. 11-2 to win the cup double.
What about, have you got a first scorer?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is, Eberechi Eze has kind of got a bit of a spring in his step, hasn't he? He's been, he scored in the cup final against City last season. Scored in midweek as well. Just seems to be playing really, really well. And I've obviously got Haaland on the other side. Eze is 11-2 to score first and 11-4 to score at any time. This is in 90 minutes, by the way. Impact sub applies there, so if your player goes off before scoring, the one coming on fills in the gaps for you. And of course, Erling Haaland 7-5 to score any time, 15-4 for first. But I'd probably go with Antoine Semenyo over Haaland at the minute. 15-8 to score any time, 9-2 to score first.
Haaland's never scored in 6 attempts at Wembley, which is extraordinary.
And he's not got a great record in this competition either. But maybe that's because he doesn't play in the earlier rounds, to be fair to him. And it's mad to say this, isn't it? It doesn't feel like he's had a great season. Still going to win the Golden Boot, isn't he? But it's like
almost a goal a game, club and country.
Crazy. But that's because it was all stacked early in the season, I guess, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, phenomenal player. Can I just ask you about goalkeepers? Does that affect things? The fact that Kepa and James Trafford will start?
It doesn't affect the odds particularly. It'd have to be a key player missing to affect the odds, really. So no, it won't affect the odds. I think it's probably 1 for 1, isn't it? Really?
Because you look at Rare and Donnarumma almost same level.
Yeah, you guess so. Yeah, and like I say, it'd have to be a key player missing who's absolutely influential to change the odds. Even Haaland being out might not change it that much, to be fair.
Anyway, on to the most important business of the day. Newcastle v Sunderland. As we've heard from Joe Shannon there, Voltemada is back, so chance for him to make up for his own goal in the first game.
Yeah, he'd be desperate to do that, wouldn't he?
Okay, who's going to win it?
I'm not sure, really. I mean, Newcastle are 4-6, which is short enough. In fact, just gone 6-10, 29-10, so only 3-1 the draw, and 4-1 Sunderland. There'll be a few Sunderland fans listening, thinking 4-1. I know they're away from home. We've got, interestingly, on final one standing, which we're running until the end of the season, we've got two £20,000 final one standing jackpots, which could go today. There are 2 players in one of them and 3 in the other. One of the players from each game picked Fulham yesterday, so they're safely through. All the others have picked Newcastle. So if Newcastle don't win today, 2 people win 20k each this afternoon. If Newcastle win, then they all go through to the next round. There's an epic boost on this one. Newcastle to score in the first half, even money from 8-13. You can have your bet builder as well. I should have said on the League Cup final, you've got a 50% boost on your bet builders today. So if you win one, you get a 50% extra. But on the Newcastle Sunderland game, all about the Anthonys for me. Anthony Taylor, I think he'll dish out some cards. We had 9 yellows, remember, in the first game. It was spicy. You guys were just talking to Mickey about the fact that it could get spicy. So over 5.5 cards I'd go for. Anthony Gordon, he's been in good form, lots of shots on target, so maybe over 1 shot on target. And Anthony Elanga, I thought, despite the calamitous midweek performance, he probably was the brightest spark. So shot on target there as well. And you're looking at around 10-1 with your boost on that one for the Newcastle.
Okay, relegation battle. Spurs, obviously.
So nervous, wouldn't you, at the minute? I mean, West Ham, we've taken Burnley and Wolves out of the betting. They are still in the worst market of all to finish bottom. Wolves marginal favourites over Burnley to finish bottom. But West Ham are the favourites now to go down at 13-8. But Tottenham 9-4, Forest 9-4, and then Leeds at 6-1. God, it's such a big game, isn't it? Tottenham 7-5, the draw 21-10, Forest just under 2-1, Villa 3-4 to win at home to West Ham. You'd think they'd be shorter than that. West Ham 17-5. I think we could see a couple of draws there, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it time and time again, haven't we, over the years? When it gets down to the nitty-gritty, the nerves set in. I think Villa may suffer a little bit of a hangover after the midweek. It's 23-1 for a score, draw, double in those. I just think news of Tottenham's revival may be a little hasty. I mean, I know they drew against Liverpool, but that midweek, I mean, Atletico were 5-2 up from the first. Like, they weren't fully at it. And they just kept, we'll just chip in with a goal. We'll still, so I think, I think score, draw, double on that one. But you've got loads of opportunities today. You've got your ACCAs. You can have a bet and get on your ACCAs. So if you place a football ACCA, you get a free one to use. Same with the racing, by the way. And of course, in the William Hill Scottish Premiership, Celtic playing away at Dundee United. A win takes them second, 2 points behind Hearts. Even before that, the Celtic are favourites to win the William Hill Premiership at 6-5.
William Hill Premiership,
yeah. Got to squeeze that one in there.
Come on, we're running out of time. So you said you had something on the World Cup squad.
Yes, it's caused quite a lot of conjecture in the studio today, hasn't it? I was just looking at the prices for Trent Alexander-Arnold to make the World Cup squad.
Henry, you'll be interested in
He's 6-4. And when you look at the likes of Joel Kwanzaa, Tino Livramento, Jed Spence, they're all odds on. 8-11 Kwanzaa, 4-6 Spence, and 1-2 Livramento. So as the betting's got it right now, he's 6-4 outsider to make the squad. I agree. It's remarkable, really, isn't it?
He's an outsider with Tuchel, certainly.
Certainly is. That was the latest odds brought to you by Final One Standing from William Hill. Thanks to Lee Phelps. Don't forget, terms and conditions apply. 18+, gambleaware.org.
In the Zone on talkSPORT. Brought to you by Final One Standing from William Hill. 18+, gambleaware.org. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't forget, it is the Carabao Cup final today. Arsenal v Man City. That is live on talkSPORT with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Darren Bent and Stuart Pearce. Who's going to win, Henry?
I think Arsenal will edge it.
Well, I'm going to give it to Man City just to balance things up. That's it. Up next, it's game day exclusive Newcastle versus Sunderland.
But what does that framework look like? Are we talking about like back end of summer? We could see AJ back in the ring if it all goes well. You know, where is it? And do we still get that Tyson Fury fight possibly at the back end of this year?
I think that him fighting in the summer is hopefully what we're working towards. But it's very different him training as he has been and going back into a proper full-on camp. And I think that's what we have to see over the next few weeks, how he gets back into those full camps, those training sessions. The Fury fight is the one everyone wants. We all want it. We're all fans.
2 years, isn't it? I mean, if you think about it, if AJ fights in the summer, it's 2 years. Put Jake Paul to one side, all respect, but it's 2 years since a competitive fight. So there's going to have to be some finessing and ensuring that he can get to the levels that require him to fight someone like Fury.
I think the problem we've got, obviously, with Anthony Joshua, and a massive hurdle he has to overcome is this psychological damage that he's got going in there, and that's bigger than the physical battle. That's bigger than the warm-up fights, etc., etc. And that's where none of us are going to be able to give those answers until AJ sort of.
Well, I think in part that battle has been embraced by Anthony by saying he wanted to fight. I think most people were expecting him not to. I think people saw him in London post the circumstances in December and felt that there was very little chance